Education is often called the great equalizer, a tool that can break the cycle of poverty and create opportunities. But for many students, access to quality education remains a challenge. In this documentary, we'll explore how education impacts economic mobility, the barriers that prevent students from succeeding, and what can be done to ensure that learning is accessible to all. Research has shown that education plays a direct role in breaking poverty cycles. According to UNESCO, just one extra year of schooling can increase an individual's earnings by at least 10%. Countries with higher literacy rates also tend to have lower poverty levels. But how does education affect people on a personal level? To understand this, I spoke with students, teachers, and community leaders about their experiences.
I'm Kamaya. I'm 18. I'm a sophomore. And I grew up in like a low income / middle income community. Okay.
My name is Victor Gauna. I'm 20 years old. I am unemployed at the present time, but I'm a junior here at Texas State University. And, I come from a military family, so we moved around a lot, but for the past decade or so, I've lived in a small town called Bastrop, Texas.
Students are at the heart of this issue. Many face economic hardships, lack of resources, and other challenges that make education difficult. I asked them about their experiences growing up and how education has shaped their lives. What motivates you to stay in school and continue your education?
I would say just the goals I've set for myself and like being successful.
I'm getting an English degree, hopefully to teach English at a high school here in Texas. And, growing up, I had lots of great teachers that inspired me to learn and just made school bearable. And I hope to be able to do that for the kids that I'll be teaching.
Can you describe a time when education helped you overcome a challenge?
Yes, I can. I think that a major part of my high school experience was participating in theater. Before that, I was very shy, kind of timid, but I had a wonderful director, and he was very encouraging, and it was through him that I learned to kind of break out of that shell and communicate with people.
What do you think would help make education more accessible?
I would say maybe better funding from the government, and I would say maybe more transportation, more opportunities for these kids that grew up in these low-income environments.
Okay.
Well, I think we have kind of a backwards notion of education in America today. I think that the model we have of 30 students sitting in desks, having somebody talk at them, maybe isn't the most effective thing. One of my professors has a style where we all sit around a table and just discuss ideas, and I find that I learn far better that way than the usual style. I just think alternative methods should be examined.
I agree. Do you feel that your community has the resources it needs for a quality education? Why or why not?
I don't think so. San Marcos ISD is pretty low income based, so they don't have the resources that they need to educate these kids with these learning disabilities the way that they need to be. So ultimately the students and the teachers struggle.
How do you think education can change the future for students in lower income communities?
Well, the studies are there, right? We know statistically that having a college degree basically every time means more lifetime income. And I would encourage anybody from a lower class background, as I was. I grew up in a mobile home. Some nights we were food insecure. But college is a way to break out of that. And if you can stick with it for 4 years, even if you have to take out loans, do it, because it'll be worth it in the end.
Do you think there's a difference in the quality of education in affluent versus low-income areas?
Absolutely. Honestly, I grew up in pretty different districts in middle school and high school years, so I would say when I was in a more high-income environment, the education and the teachers were way better compared to the low income, because the low income, they often come with outside challenges or like fighting or drugs or just lack of, I don't want to say accessibility, but lack of accessibility. And yeah, a lot of the kids that grow up in low income households bring their household problems to school, and it ultimately affects the entire environment. So yeah.
Oh, undoubtedly. I think anybody who says otherwise is kind of putting their head in the sand. I mean, you see it in Austin, for example. Austin, just as an example, used to be a segregated town, and that's why East Austin is majority minority, and the other parts are not. And if you look at the school districts there in the inner city versus in the richer suburbs, the contrast is quite marked. So, I mean, that's all the proof you need.
As we can see, financial struggles and lack of resources continue to be major barriers in education. But what can be done to fix this? For many students, the issue isn't just getting to school. It's what happens once they're there. In underprivileged areas, schools often lack proper funding, resources, and qualified teachers. According to the Education Equity Institute, historical inequalities have left many communities without the support they need. Beyond financial struggles, students also face challenges before they even enter the classroom. Poor nutrition, unstable housing, and limited access to healthcare can make it harder for them to focus on their studies.
Okay, my name is Tamika Lewis. My age is none of your business. No, I'm 53. My occupation is I am an educator. I'm the culinary arts director. I have been for the last 6 years. And the income in my area is low, real low.
We asked teachers about the biggest challenges they see in the classroom. Okay, what were the biggest challenges you faced when teaching students adults from their background of income?
The greatest challenges is for them to get out of their own mind, being able to see past what they have been exposed to in their lives.
Mm-hmm. How does poverty impact students' performance in school, and how did you address it?
I would say one of the biggest things that I saw in the impact of poverty is the parental involvement. Parents don't have time to be involved because either they are working to take care of their families. In some cases, there are no parents in the home. The kids are being raised by relatives, and that also impacts them if the parents are, say, just absent.
What types of programs or policies do you think would help students from low-income families succeed in school?
I think one of the things is if there was educational equity, where it was even across the board, regardless of the person's income, the background, everybody should receive the same type of education.
Can you share a success story where education helped a student break from poverty, if any?
Yes, I have one student in particular. She wanted to become a baker. She was very good at baking. In our class, we do experiential learning where we go out into the community. One of our trips for the last 6 years has been to go on restaurant tours and culinary college tours. So she went on a culinary college tour and was bitten by the culinary bug where she wanted to really go to school, but she didn't think it was going to ever be possible because of her economic background. She was able to participate on our competition team with that college. She received a scholarship. She also received several discounts, and she will be graduating from culinary school this semester. Yay.
How do you keep students motivated when they may not see education as an escape or a cause of growth?
Because of the nature of my class, they are in here so that they have an option to get, so they have an option to have a career regardless of their background. When they leave from my class, they are certified with 2 years worth of culinary experience, which allows them to go into culinary management. They can graduate from high school making as much as $40,000 a year, and that in itself is an inspiration to those that are coming from a poverty background, because many of their parents are not even making that amount of money.
Okay, what do you think is the most effective way to address the education gap in underfunded schools?
I think to get the community involved. Community impact can make the difference in where the funding is missing. If the community will come alongside and work with the schools, if the churches, the schools, the community organizations, nonprofit and for-profit businesses come together to support the kids, then they could make up the difference in the gap. They could provide funding, they could provide opportunities, they could provide jobs, they can provide education in a way, real life education in a way that will connect with the students, to give them, again, an option to see past what they've seen in their lives, so where they can accomplish more than they have before.
Okay. The last question is, what do you wish the government or community would do to support education in disadvantaged areas?
First thing, they need to pay the teachers. You know, give the teachers more of an incentive. This is more of ministry for me personally, and so pay is not my motivating factor for being here. My motivating factor for being here is students like you, seeing that you can go beyond the high school level to do something great with your life. I want you to discover if there's a culinary arts gift in me, and what do I want it to be. So finding out what you want to spend your life sipping on, helping them to discover those things. And if the government would provide adequate funding to the school systems, especially in the low income areas, even if, say, wealthy people would come together and contribute to the educational experience of the students, I believe that it will provide more educational equity to the students across the board.
While these challenges are significant, there are efforts being made to bridge the gap. Community leaders and activists have been working to provide educational resources and support for students in need. One solution is increasing government investments in schools. Some countries, like South Africa, have implemented policies that provide free preschool education to low-income families, helping children get a strong academic foundation. In the U.S., debates continue over how funding should be distributed to ensure all students receive equal opportunities. Traditional schooling isn't the only way to combat poverty. Alternative education models such as vocational training and apprenticeships provide students with career-focused skills that lead directly to employment. For example, digital learning platforms have allowed students in rural and low-income areas to access education on flexible terms. Programs like Work in Kenya successfully help students secure jobs in technology, healthcare, and business. Education has the power to change lives, but only if it's accessible to everyone. As I wrap up, education has the power to change lives, but only if it's accessible to everyone. As we wrap up, I asked our interviewees to share their final thoughts on the role of education in fighting poverty.
Really anything. Education is important. Everybody needs an education to be a better person and stay in school. Yeah.
Okay. I just want to thank my interviewer for allowing me to take part in this. And I hope that through this project we'll be able to kind of illustrate the thesis of the paper, which is that education is a massive, massive tool for good.
Well, regardless of the economic position that the students come from, I'm actually a graduate of this high school that I teach at. I graduated 35 years ago, and they equipped me for success in a way just by helping me to believe in myself. And as teachers, if we take that part of it seriously, if we teach the kids that we actually believe in them and that you have the ability to live out your own personal dreams, now what are the steps that are necessary to take to achieve those dreams, help them to understand how to, map it out, plan it out, work together, then we can all be great.
The fight for equal education isn't just about classrooms and textbooks. It's about creating a future where every student, regardless of background, has the opportunity to succeed. By investing in education, we invest in a better world for everyone.